Welcome. You're on the move with yours truly, JoAnna Ward. And while we're on the move, I wanted to talk to you about what makes you move, and that is your legs. That's right. We hear more and more people saying that they have to get knee surgery, hip surgery, and replacement for their knees. Well, you know, your knees were actually designed to last 120 years. That's right, but if you don't use them, you'll lose them. Or if you abuse them, like anything else, you'll also lose them. So like the tires in our car that go through bumps and bruises and various things like that, and we have to patch them up, our legs are the same way. So most of the work that we're gonna do today is going to be concentrating on your legs. This is for, you know, people who haven't quite lost the tendons and the muscles and haven't lost it yet. These things can be strengthened and with flexibility and fluid so that you can use them for years and years to come. Staying soft, building up your quads and your hamstrings, these are extremely important. They take you everywhere you go from the time you start to walking until you decide to stop. So what I wanted to do is show you one of my very, very favorite moves. It's low impact. I could jump from the floor up onto this box, but there's a way that I've designed that includes your upper body, your abs and your arms, which are all a system, where you place it here on this box and then you do the hops without the floor. So I'm gonna do those first, and then for those of you who can, you can do the straightforward ones, and we'll talk you through that. Also, I have my box on 6 risers each, but you could do this with 3 or less. You could do this on a stage. Some of my clients will use a stage to do these box hops. You can do it with a chair, which we'll do on another show, but for right now, we're gonna use this box, okay? So what you wanna do is you wanna start with your hands here like so, and we're just gonna hop up here, and this is gonna be a stretch and a flex, as well as work on my abs and arms, and we're gonna come back here, we're gonna in and out and up, okay? So if you have a box, you can use your box. You could actually even use your couch or a stable coffee table or anything that's gonna support your entire weight. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 5 and do 3 sets of 5. So I'm gonna come here, palms down, tighten and then strengthen up my upper body. I'm gonna come here, go to full stretch, in and out, take it up here. This is 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I'm gonna take it down, take a deep breath. I'm gonna do 2 more sets. Are you guys doing this or are you watching? So if you were on your couch, you can just hold on to the back of the couch and do the same thing on the chair, or you can put your hands down on the couch like this. So let's go for that next 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, walking down really soft. If you notice, I'm not banging my knees. I'm using my quads and my hamstrings. And actually, because my hands are on this box, I'm using my abs and arms as well. So let's finish up that 5. Hands down. This is a stretch, so I'm gonna hold it there just slightly. Back, half jack. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, taking care of what takes care of you and takes you everywhere you go on the move. So say, for instance, you're an athlete, you're very young, you're like, well, I'm gonna make a commitment, I'm gonna stay fit for the rest of my life. And that one may not seem challenging to you. You can do a very basic one where you come here, but you glide really softly. I come in and back down, real soft. And soft. So believe it or not, it looks like I'm banging and this is very ballistic, but it's really not. That's this, all of this. So the muscle that's protecting my legs and my hip, that's there to protect the joints, the tendons, the ligaments, so that I don't have to get surgery. If I don't build up muscle in this area, what happens is day by day, decade by decade, those areas begin to diminish. So let's do 5 more. I don't know if you're doing this at home, but if you are, Good for you. That means you got the box, you got all the risers, and you're with us doing it. And remember, I'm just doing 5 for set purposes, but typically I'll do 2 sets of 25 nonstop. So we're gonna go here. Four and 5. And walk off. Cool beans? If you're doing it, let me know. Now, if this is too high, you don't have a box at home, you're like, hey, I really want to build up. I want to, that looks great, but I know I can't do that. Like, my mind is just not there yet. I'm just not going to get up on 6 risers. You could always walk, go as low as you can, just comfortable. Bring it back in, take it back out, walk it through. Again, you can go up, take a squat, make sure those knees stay over the ankles, come up, bring it in, take it back. Do your 5. Come up, take it down, bring it in, bring it out, and walk back, okay? Let's finish our last 5. Ready? Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Awesome. I don't know about you guys, but I am drenched. What are you? Are you still dry? Because it just doesn't take a whole lot. Sometimes we think we need way more than what we actually need. So since this is a legs episode, one of the things I want to show you guys is what's called a crossover. And what it does is it works, this area here, which is where your hips are, and your inner thighs. It also helps raise your heart rate. Remember, every time you bust a sweat or break a sweat, you're taking a bath for your body from the inside out. You're fighting off toxins, carcinogens, cancerous cells, viruses, and all kinds of things are happening when you exercise. It's so much bigger than just losing weight and looking good. So we're gonna start here. We're gonna lift. We're gonna cross over, take it up, and back down. Okay, again, this is my body weight. I don't have any weights in my hand. I'm gonna take it up, cross over. What am I doing? I'm leveraging my weight here to my right side, up, and to my left. And 5, I'm gonna switch here. Again, leveraging that weight. 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm gonna switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do it on the lower box until you get the hang of it. Towel, box, whatever's here. Right leg, left, cross over, cross back. Cross over, cross back, cross over, switch. Cross over, take it back, cross over, take it back, switch. Cross, cross, cross. Same thing on the towel. Switch, one more set. Cross, 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 and last one on this leg. All right, I'm drenched. I'm drenched. And that's not even 30 minutes of the show. All right, so now, here, we have the weights. I have a towel, because it just doesn't take me long to give my body a bath. It doesn't take long at all for me to clean from the inside out. So amazingly, if we take the same time, you know how long you take a shower for, but just say it's 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Mine might be longer than that because I got to clean up a lot of stuff. But imagine if you put that same 15 to 30 minutes into a good solid workout. Like you feeling sluggish, you feeling like, irritated, you're feeling depressed, you feel like somebody's getting on your nerves or whatever. And just like you do when you feel icky and grimy in your body on the outside, you go take a bath or a shower. This is that bath or shower for your mind, your body, and your soul. So make sure you choose this and do it, okay? Remember, we're talking about the tires of our temple, which is the body. Especially if you're a believer. Your temple is the temple, your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do what I call supported squats, because some people, like we just did earlier, they don't really know how to do the squat. So what this box is gonna do is gonna keep me in the same position, coming and going. I'm using the weights because I want to have a full body workout and not just my legs. So I'm gonna come up, I'm gonna squeeze my glutes when I come up, I'm gonna find that box and sit back down. I'm gonna breathe in, exhale out, in and out. Remember, chair at your kitchen table, dining room table, couch. Right here, are gonna take care of your wig, your wheels, not your wig. I don't know about that, you have to go see a hairdresser. But your wheels, your tires, which are your legs, okay? You wanna take care of those. You wanna make sure that those knees stay above the ankles. Come all the way up nice and tall. Squeeze everything, keep it tight. Breathe, relax completely. Come back up. Just like this. Let's do 10 more. Five more. Two more. Last one. All right. I hope you guys have taken notice of how to take care of the tires of your body, which are your legs. They will take you to the highest heights and the deepest depths. Wherever you go, just remember that your body is the top-notch vehicle that you will ever take care of. Remember that your body is the most immaculate and amazing house that you'll ever have. You see, those places and things, they fade, they're temporary, and they tear down just like our bodies, but it's what we do with these bodies. It's what we do with the time that we have here on this earth and how productive we are and how we live up to our purposes. So we're different than cars and houses, even though we put a lot of energy into those things and then very little into this body, into this vehicle. But it takes you everywhere you go, to jobs, colleges, celebrations. When people see you, they're seeing an immaculate masterpiece. Take care of your temple. We just took care of the tires of the temple. We're getting ready to take care of your spirit, your soul, and your mind. I'm gonna go get dressed and changed. We'll be right back with our next guest. Take care of those tires. I'll be right back. Wow, I had to catch my breath and clean myself up while you guys were on a break, and I hope you did the same. I hope you enjoyed that wonderful workout. I did, and you took a bath for your body. So our guest today is Dr. Timothy Jennings. He's here to tell us about the God-shaped heart. That is amazing, because God's heart, I'm pretty sure, is shaped in many, many more ways than what we realize. Welcome to On the Move with JoAnna Ward. Thank you so much for coming all the way from Tennessee.
Well, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
So tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm a psychiatrist in private practice in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Did my residency training many years ago in the U.S. Army and spent 8 years in the Army as a division psychiatrist and did some other things there before I went into private practice.
Okay, so with all the things that we have going on in our society, the mental issues, the emotional issues, the opioid use, which is just trending and everywhere, and they said it has gone up 1,000%, 1,000%. And you're saying that there's a remedy to that. There's an underlying issue that maybe we don't know about that could help us with these psychological episodes that we're having with our minds and our emotions.
Well, you know, there is a relationship in our brain where we process emotional pain and physical pain.
Okay.
And there is some data that suggests that a lot of times people get into opiates because they're looking for some type of emotional or mood relief rather than actual just physical relief.
Okay.
And of course, that overlap then leads to this kind of addictive process. And there are actually programs out there that show that people who are having chronic pain of various kinds, if they deal with the emotional problems, their experience of pain significantly decreases.
Okay. Okay. So they start off, or most people start off trying to remedy emotional or mental pain. You know, I hear a lot of people say, I thought that the alcohol would help soothe the pain. The cigarettes would soothe the pain, the marijuana, and these are more gateways to those heavier things. But you're saying that
I think a lot of the opiate addiction happens when somebody gets a real physical injury and they get opiates for the first time.
Okay.
And prior to the exposure to the opiate, they have unresolved emotional problems or baggage that they never really dealt with, and then they get this relief, this emotional relief that they never thought they'd never experienced before, and that leads to kind of an opiate addiction for many people through prescribers and stuff. And I think that's what the data is showing. There's a subset, at least, that's true for.
So there's more correlation than causation, or is it causation and then correlation?
Well, I think when it comes to the opiate addiction, it's both. There is a relationship neurobiologically between where we process physical pain and emotional pain, and then when people have this emotional pain and get a narcotic or some substance that activates that opioid circuitry in our brain, there can be an emotional relief from that.
And so they keep going back to that, and that's where the addictive properties come in to play. So what do we do if we have our loved ones, or even we? I mean, I had a friend recently to have a back injury that was not resolved, and so the person had to get a epidural type shot to allegedly relieve this pain. It didn't work, but in the process of the pain allegedly supposed to reside or subside because of that shot, they were given oxycodone. And I was thinking to myself, this is one of those things, and this is how that thing starts.
Yes, exactly.
And so what do you do? How do you, again, reconcile that correlation? Because, you know, I'm trying to get my back healed, and it's, I mean, obviously enough pain for them to prescribe this to me.
I've seen multiple patients over the years that have this very problem, and they have no, what we call insight, to allow for the fact that they have an emotional or relationship problem. Maybe there's problems in the marriage, but they're a good Christian couple, and they can't admit they have a problem in the marriage, because to admit their problem in the marriage, then that would expose them socially, and they don't do that. So there's this huge level of denial, and so all that negative energy gets then somaticized into the body, and then they end up pilling it away with opiates or other types of pain pills, often from a prescriber rather than from the street. And so you say, how can you help them? Well, you know, you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped for that problem. They want the physical pain relief, but many people don't want to actually look at the psychological or emotional piece.
So there is a correlation between me already having emotional issues,
yes, there
getting
is.
an injury, I'm trying to break it down into layman's terms for our audience, and then I take this opiate, whatever form it comes in, to relieve that pain, but because I have some emotional, psychological pain within me, I become addicted to, because it's relieving me at so many levels. Potentially. And you're right. I think I've read that in some of the research that's out.
And I don't want to suggest that just because somebody may have an addiction because they have emotional pain, that they don't also have a physical pain problem.
I'm pretty sure, because I mean, I think doctors are not going to prescribe this stuff.
But my experience is that their perception of physical pain is markedly reduced, and their need for opiates goes down when they resolve the emotional, psychological pain, even though they have a physical source.
Okay, so to some, what you're probably recommending is that we resolve the emotional, mental issues before there is any physical pain, or we start dabbling into, we may be talking about opiates, but even the alcohol, the cigarette smoking, all these things start Because I hear people say, well, I just wanted to drown
Right.
the pain, or I wanted to get that off of my mind.
You know, the body doesn't feel pain. The body signals the brain that something noxious or damaging is occurring, but all pain is processed in the brain. That's why you can give it an epidural block. And if you give an epidural block, you don't feel pain because the signal never makes it to the brain, even though you're still doing something that's damaging to the
Okay,
body.
hold on a second. So you guys heard that. Pain is not real. So when you start tripping about exercising with me and you're like, ouch, this hurts, it's not real.
I didn't say that.
It's all in your head. Just let it go.
But it's processed in the brain. That's where it's processed.
It's processed in the brain, but it's not really processed in the body. So just deal with the workout. So continue on.
Yeah. So the point being is that as we, if we have difficulty in our emotions, we can then experience physical pain that we experience in our body that's no longer originating in the body.
No longer originating in the body. It's all here. So we need to be transformed by the renewing of our minds.
Yes.
But we have to submit our bodies first. Like that whole scripture in Romans 12, it says, present your body so that the mind can follow.
Every organ system in your body has its primary purpose to maintain the health of your brain.
Okay.
That's its purpose. Your lungs breathe, your heart beats in order to give nutrients and oxygen to your brain. That's its purpose. So if we have an unhealthy body, then we undermine the functioning of our brain. Now, our thought processes, the beliefs we hold, the God we worship, the things we engage in, our thought processes actually determine which brain circuits fire, and which brain circuits fire over time actually change structurally how our brain develops over time. Even as adults, we are changing the wiring of our brain. Our brain is in a state of flux based on what we choose to think, choose to worship, choose to focus upon, relationships we engage in, foods that we eat. All these things are actually changing and updating our brain. Once we've done something repetitively, we develop habit patterns or pathways that are networks that are automated. And then once that happens, we experience a new event in life. If we aren't a thinker, then we immediately just process it through the previous patterns we've established. And this is where we have biases, prejudices. We see things and come to immediate conclusions without good evidence because we've already thought it through that way or processed it that way so many times. It takes real discipline to go stop, wait, let me rethink, let me reevaluate, and that's across all domains of life, whether they're relational. You see this in marriage couples. They automatically assume they know what the other's going to say before they say it.
Right.
Okay. It's in social groups, in networks. It's in church groups and religious belief systems where you have biases and prejudices and so forth. And so the mature person comes to the point and says, wait a minute, I need to step back and evaluate based on actual objective evidence rather than just continuing to fire old pathways.
Right. So that would take some level of humility and a awareness of the fact that it's not all about me and my way is not the absolute only way and righteous way. Because in order for me to understand, I have to stop seeking to be understood first, listen first in order to learn and not just respond. Some people listen to respond, they never listen to learn. So if I am only listening to you to respond to what you're saying, and I'm saying in a generalized way of what you're saying, then I'm walking away from that conversation ignorant. I'm also walking away from that experience ignorant because I only took away what I knew because I was only responding. I was not absorbing your knowledge to get a better understanding. Even if I don't agree with you, I could at least absorb that knowledge so I can better understand. And this is where prejudices and religious rhetoric and these various things come in. Tell us about the God-shaped heart and how that can help all of us go into that zone of, wait a minute, let me understand before I seek to be understood and get outside of myself.
Well, that's exactly right. And in the book, The God-Shaped Heart, what I've done is I've shown how certain habits or belief systems entered Christianity that are actually harmful to people. And certain ways of viewing things that people do automatically without question are actually not adaptive and healthy, and they actually create divisions in churches, divisions in society, divisions in groups, rather than bringing us into unity, which is what the true Christian gospel is about.
Right.
You know, what you said a moment ago about it's not all about me, that's the world's way. The world's way, it's all about me.
Right.
That's what our society is promoting. You watch our current media right now, oh my goodness, is it just pounding away that drive and validating people. It's all about me. It's the opposite of the gospel message.
Right.
The gospel message is that we die to self and we live for God and for others.
Right.
And that's the God-shaped heart, where we've had and reborn in the inner person, we have new motives that actually love other people more than we love self.
Oh, that is awesome. I really, really appreciate that. So you said there were things. Could you tell us your top 3 things that are causing this confusion, this deception, this breakdown?
I'll tell you the
in
number
these
one.
relationships?
The number one core, what I document in this book is the infection in Christianity, an idea deeply embedded that came back when Constantine converted, is the idea that God's law functions no different than human law. Functions.
Wow.
Think when you hear the word law, most people think rules. Okay? But God is the creator. He builds space, time, energy, matter, life. His laws are the laws upon which reality work. Laws of physics, laws of health, law of gravity, including its moral laws. Those are design protocols upon which reality function. You cannot deviate from those without injury to yourself and
That's
ultimately
exactly
leading
right.
to death. But human laws don't work that way. We can't make reality, so we make up rules, and then we threaten to punish people if they break our rules. Christianity is deeply infected with this idea that God runs his universe no different than a dictator runs Rome. He makes up rules, and when you break his rules, the problem with sin is you're in trouble with the ruling magistrate, and he is now going to inflict pain and suffering upon you for breaking his rules. And then many of the theological doctrines that are taught are designed now to hide us and protect us from God. We've got to have an intercessor stand between us and him. We've got to somebody pay him the price. We've got to have the punishment made, and all these types of constructs actually undermine trust in God, incite fear, and neurobiology shows that when you have that God construct, you actually fire fear circuits more, which undermine physical health and mental health. But when you come back to see a God who is love, as Jesus revealed, it's healing to your brain, body, and relationships.
So does that omit, where does that leave Christ in this whole picture? Is Christ no longer necessary?
No. Christ.
I mean,
No, Christ says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. The Father and I are one. The human species could not be restored to life, eternal life, without the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Right.
But what was its purpose? If I say Jesus did not need to die in order for human beings to discover penicillin, is that the same thing as saying Jesus did not need to die for our salvation? No. Just because he didn't need to die for us to discover penicillin doesn't mean he didn't need to die for our salvation.
and more importantly, rise and be seated at the right hand.
Right. So when I say he didn't need to die to change his dad's attitude, if God is for us, for God so loved the world, he sent his only begotten Son.
Right.
Okay, God has always been on our side. There's this idea in Christianity that Jesus' death was necessary for the Father to propitiate him, to assuage him, to somehow turn his wrath away from us. Okay, that he stands between us to protect us. This idea actually is pagan. It's not Christian. And so Jesus' death was necessary, but not for that purpose. It was necessary for Hebrews 2:14, by his death he destroys him, holds the power of death, that is the devil. 2 Timothy 1:9 and 10, by his death he destroys death and brings life and immortality to light. And 1 John 3:8, by his death he destroys the devil's work. And so he is destroying what sin has actually done to this creation and restoring this creation back into unity with God.
Awesome. Well, thank you so very much, Dr. Jennings, for sharing with us the God-shaped heart. Jesus Christ is Lord. He's King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and I want you guys to remember that. Seek him, his way, his will. No man goes to the Father except by him. Make sure you remember that. The God-shaped heart. God loves you, and so do I. I'll see you guys on next time.